Hey people, I was just wondering, looking at trying to follow all this corona bullshit stuff and whatever and yada yada, and something kind of hit me, and I was wondering, why is it Victoria, Victoria, Victoria? Always Victoria seems to be copping the worst, yada yada yada. Why Victoria? What's going on in Victoria? And I know it's not the bug because that's just a pile of fucking crap, right? There's got to be something else going on there, and that's why they're shutting these areas down. And then why is it certain areas? If this is some kind of pandemic, you'd kind of think that it would be spread over most of, because people travel. You know what I mean? People don't just fucking sit at home, you know. You could have come into town from, like, into the city from the country, yada, yada, yada. Why isn't it all over the fucking joint? But certain suburbs. So I asked a mate of mine to help me out on this, okay? Because obviously Victoria is not my state, so I really don't know postcodes and stuff like that. But I thought, we'll go check out um, the postcodes and everything, and see if it hooks up to anything, okay? And basically, my mate sent me this through. 10 Victorian postcodes will be back in lockdown from midnight on Wednesday, and international flights coming into Melbourne will be diverted elsewhere as the state struggles to get on top of COVID-19 outbreaks and community transmission. On Tuesday, the Premier Daniel Andrews said a number of Victorian cases through late May and early June had been linked through genomic testing to an infection control breach in the hotel quarantine program, prompting him to call for a judicial inquiry. Clearly there has been failure in the operation of this program. I have today ordered the establishment of an inquiry led by a former judge into the operation of the hotel quarantine program, significant number and potentially more of the outbreaks in the north, yada, 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 right? So they've gone and they've closed down these particular areas. From Thursday, the only reason people living in postcodes are 312, 321, 3032, 3038, 3042, yada yada, as shown up here, will have to leave home are to exercise or work. That's the only reason that you can leave home, is to exercise or work, to buy essential items including food, or to access childcare, healthcare. The restrictions will remain in place until at least the 29th of July. If we do not do this now, then I won't be locking down 10 postcodes. I will be locking down all postcodes. See, you always get that threat. There's always that fucking threat there, you know? But anyway, moving past this, all right, we go to, so I kind of went to here, okay? This is a Telstra, I kind of went from link to link and whatever, and this is a Telstra 5G map, okay? You can check to see, as you can see here, you can check to see where the 5G coverage is and whatever, okay? See how they've put it into, there's just certain sections that have got it so far, but a lot of places still don't have it. Well, down here, you've got this little thing where it's telling you 5G is in these purplish coloured spots. That's already, okay, around Melbourne area. And the pale purpley kind of colour down here, coverage coming soon. And you can see different spots where the coverage is coming soon, okay? Now they're saying that this coverage part, right? Let me go there and I'll show you, but this is, where is it? Hang on one second. Here, Telstra announces 5G coverage expands into more of Melbourne, right? Telstra's 5G rollout has picked up pace with over 600 suburbs across the country that now have more than 50% 5G coverage. In Melbourne, there are 57 suburbs that are now more than half covered by the new mobile technology, with some places in Melbourne having it available across the whole suburb. Telstra says it's another big step in Telstra's continued rollout and investment in 5G technology as we look to make it available to more Victorians. 2020 is going to be the year of 5G, and our focus is on continuing to expand our 5G coverage so we can bring it to more areas across Melbourne and Victoria. We're also seeing a greater choice in handsets, yada yada. 5G is delivering faster download speeds, yada 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 yada. And we move on. And then it gives you, it tells you down the bottom here, Telstra has now rolled out coverage to selected areas in 32 major and regional cities and remains on track to deliver 5G into selected areas of 35 cities by mid-year. Across Victoria, Telstra has also begun to roll out the 5G in Albury, Ballarat, Bendigo, Geelong, Hamilton, a whole pile of thingies here. And then Telstra 5G coverage maps are available, which that's where I just brought you from. That is the link there, which I'll drop that link also into the description if you want to have a squiz. Coverage maps are available at such and such. In non-5G areas, customers will switch to the available 3G, 4G network. Personally, I think they're locking people down in these places because they don't want them roaming around while they're putting this up. Because if we go over to this one, right, it says, hang on, let me go to the top part here. Daniel Andrews announces 10 postcodes returning to stage 3 at the home laws as it happens. Victoria reimposes stay-at-home orders, yada yada. South Australia, da-da-da. Who is to blame, yada yada, all that bullshit. Then let's go down here for a bit. As you can see, 16 hours ago. Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews announces that people living in 36 suburbs across 10 postcodes in Melbourne will return to stage 3 at-home laws. Stay-at-home laws, details here at da-da-da. The new measurements will remain in place till the 29th. Police will be actively enforcing these suburban lockdowns, booze buses, yada yada. It's an attempt to control the outbreak in Melbourne's northern suburbs, which Andrews said was linked to security guards working da-da-da-da-da, right? But if you keep coming down, right, if the Victorian outbreak cannot be contained or locked down, measures are not followed. Andrews said we will finish up in a situation where we will be locking down every postcode, okay? Then it says all international flights will be diverted away from Melbourne for 2 weeks, and the state will not accept anyone new into mandatory hotel quarantine in that time. Andrews says the other states will have to pick up the slack. But the part of this that gets me is all international flights will be diverted away from Melbourne for 2 weeks. Now, here I'm going to stop you, and I need you to think back, okay, when the lockdown happened. Flights were stopped, okay? No flights were going here, there, or anywhere, yada, 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 okay? Now, all international flights will be diverted away from Melbourne for 2 weeks. Let's go and see why. While the FCC contemplates changes to the 3.7, 4.2 gigahertz band, aviation officials want to make sure it doesn't disrupt aviation systems operating right next door. Representatives from the Aerospace Industries Association, General Aviation Manufacturers Association, Aviation Spectrum Resource, Lockheed Martin, the Airline Pilots Association, the Helicopter Association, all the fucking associations, okay? The groups are worried about potential harmful interference to aviation systems operating in the 4.2, 4.4 gigahertz band, which is next to the 3.7, 4.2, also known as the C-band. Radio altimeter and wireless avionics intra-communications systems operate in the 4.2, 4.4, and the uncompromised operation of both systems is essential to safety of flight. And this is to do with, as you can see here, aviation community worries about possible effects of 5G in C-band. So, is this why they divert, or they stop the flights, they divert the flights? The concerns are not new. They've been voiced in previous filings, but they illustrated yet another complicated issue for the FCC to consider as it contemplates ways to make C-band spectrum available for 5G terrestrial uses. Satellite companies use the band to deliver services to the likes of NPR, Comcast, Disney, CBS, and other broadcasters. The C-band Alliance, which is comprised of the 4 main satellite companies that deliver these services, has said it can offer up to 200 megahertz of the 500 megahertz in the band through a secondary market sales process. Wireless carriers and their vendors say that what they really need is 100 megahertz per operator to make it worthwhile. But anyway, it goes on. I'll leave all of these links if you want to go into reading the stuff and whatever. But I just found it interesting that over here you've got all international flights will be diverted away from Melbourne for 2 weeks. It doesn't say anything in the sense of that. Let me check. The update lockdown rules in Australia are here. Continue following our da-da-da. If you're Melbourne, I was just checking to see if there was any more. But anyway, I just find it, yeah, like if you're looking at the invisible bug, the bug that picks and chooses as to who it's going to get and whatever you're supporting at the time, that they divert while they're putting 5G out. You know, they divert these. They divert the flights. They blame it on COVID, but is it really COVID that they're worried about? And is it because of COVID, the invisible bug, that they do all of this for? Because, I mean, shit, aviation community worries about possible effects of 5G in C-band. You know, like, what the fuck? But anyway, I'll leave all these links, and anybody that's interested, you can go and have a look for yourself. But I'm really starting to think, I was on the fence there for a while, but I'm really starting to think this has got nothing to do with COVID. The people that were saying that this has all got to do with rolling out 5G, I would now say absolutely. Yeah. Anyway, they can't do anything to us people that we don't allow. So if you don't allow it, if you don't want it, find your voice. Silence is consent. I will also check other states to see if they're doing a big push like Victoria is as far as 5G, just to see if anybody else is going to go back into lockdown. But yeah, I'll be curious. I'm curious to see where this goes now. Later, people.